Hi everyone, this is Sheldon here from Kapiolani Community College's Kuile Outreach Program. And today we're going to talk about EdReady. Students interested in taking our EdReady placement test must have a UHID number. In order to get that number, students need to submit an application to Kapiolani Community College at apply.hawaii.edu. On this site, they would need to scroll down to Kapiolani Community College. Click on that to start the application process. Once students have completed the application process, a UHID number will be generated and sent to them. And that is how they would start the EdReady process.
So how do students find EdReady? First, they go to our homepage at kapiolani.hawaii.edu, hover over Student Services, scroll down to Library. There on the library homepage, click on Services. Here, students will find many wonderful resources the library has, but let's focus on EdReady. So let's click on Testing Center. Here on the Testing Center website, students will click on EdReady Placement Test, and there you will find important information on taking our EdReady Placement Test. Students need to read this website very, very carefully. There are important steps students need to follow in order to have a successful EdReady experience. So again, students, read through the steps very, very carefully. Once you have read through the steps, or when students have read through the steps, please go to the top, step 1, click on this website over here, or perhaps cut and paste. So you want to highlight, cut and paste to get to the EdReady website. Again, it's very important that you use this website over here. We've had students go to different EdReady websites, and unfortunately, we cannot retrieve that information. So it is very important when you're taking your EdReady placement test with the University of Hawaii Community Colleges is to use this website that I've highlighted over here.
Once they are in, they definitely want to read through this page as well very carefully. An important link on this website is the Student Quick Start Guide. Once they get into the Student Quick Start Guide, it provides even more wonderful information about getting started with EdReady. Students are encouraged to read through this again very, very carefully because again, it provides very important information on how to get started with EdReady. So I'm just scrolling through all the pages, but again, if you click on the Quick Start Guide, it'll provide very good information about the EdReady process. Once your students are ready to go, they can go ahead and get started with EdReady. So let's get started. Students need to fill out this information here. It is pretty straightforward. They need to fill out all the required information that's on this page. The email address will need to be an email address that they will check regularly. What happens when they are done with the placement test, the results get sent to this email address that they list over here. So it's very important that they put an email address that they will check regularly. Once they complete all this information, it'll take you to this area where they can start with the sign up process, which will ask for a gold key. Now, going back to the Student Quick Start Guide, that is where they will have information on how to input the gold key. Okay, here we are, EdReady. After students log in, they'll be taken to the EdReady dashboard. And once they're in this page, they want to go to their goals. Let's do that. Go to goal. My page will look a lot different because I started my EdReady a while ago. And so this is kind of a snapshot, however, of what it'll look like. And so here's your English and your 3 math paths. So let me show you an example of the English portion. Since I already got started, there you'll see my progress. So this is an example of what it'll look like. So there's an excerpt and then questions they would need to answer. If they are done, they would click their answer, submit, and then continue on. If they want to skip it, they can pass. If they want to take a break, they can save and close. Let me show you a math path that I actually completed. So here's my score. And rather than retaking it, so let's say I wanted to improve my score, I'll click on the study path. And this is like my personalized study guide on what I need to improve on. So I'll just need to work on my study path. Once I am done, I can test my knowledge. And let's say I do improve, my updated score will be sent to the UH system. And so again, it's not a matter of taking the test again if they want to improve their score. It's a matter of going through their study paths and just working on what they need to work on, retesting, and going from there. I just want to share an insight about the math paths. I always encourage students to do at least Math Path 1 and 2 because it will provide them more options in terms of math courses they're able to take at Kapi'olani Community College. If they completed classes perhaps like trigonometry, pre-calculus, even calculus, I would strongly encourage them to take then Math Path 3. Please remember, these exams are not pass-fail. It's just a placement test. And so I actually had a student who was just curious about what Math Path 3 was going to look like. So that student took Math Path 3, even though that student did not take trig or pre-cal or anything like that, because the student was just curious, and that's totally fine. Student went through the process, got a score, and maybe it was just a reality check like, yeah, maybe I'll just stick to what I scored in Math Path 2, which is, again, perfectly fine. So remember, the EdReady placement test is not a pass-fail exam. It's just a placement test. And there you have it, EdReady. See, it's not that bad. But students need to remember that EdReady is not a pass-fail test. It's just a placement test. So they really need to remember that. Also, they also need to remember that the test is not timed. And so I've had students who would take maybe 1 hour, 3 days, 1 month, totally fine. They just need to complete this placement test before their registration schedule. Another thing that they need to remember is that this can be done at home. It's online, so it's important that they have a strong internet connection. And so again, 3 things: not a pass-fail, it's not time, and it can be done at home. If students have questions about the EdReady process, they can always contact us at kapcoun@hawaii.edu. Thanks again for joining me, and take care and be well.